Consistent does not automatically equal referrals and clients. But the real goal that I want you to have, and this is where the shift comes, the method that will be easier and more effective is to be more familiar. I want you to create content that is more familiar. And do we still need a level of consistency? Sure. I want you to be consistently familiar.
How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are two agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Hi, marketing girls. It is just Chelsea here today. I am here for a solo episode, and Kayla and I decided we would mix in a few solo episodes throughout the summer with some of our top questions or objections or mindset blocks that people have that they share with us. Literally through the membership, through Camp Modern Agent, in our DMs, in our inbox. So this is one of them. And if you are someone who has ever felt like, I just need to get consistent, I'm going to join this membership so I can just finally get consistent, or I'm going to hire a social media manager so I can finally get consistent. If that is you, this episode is for you. And I honestly have a much easier and more effective method that I'm going to share with you today. And I think you're going to love it. So I want to start by sharing a little story about my birthday weekend. We were up in Door County, Wisconsin this past weekend, and we stayed somewhere new. We usually stay in these condos that are right on the water and face the marina, and we love it, but the units are more outdated. So for this trip, we decided let's look for something else in that area. And my husband found these really cute condos that were really updated. They're newer and they still had a water view, but set further back. So I was like, oh, let's just try it. Like, it can't hurt. So we're on the balcony, we're drinking coffee, and Mark and I start talking about how much we love this unit. Like, it was really well decorated. It had really nice finishes. The amenities were nice. We just loved it more than we ever thought possible. Now, a lot of the places to stay in Door County are outdated. So it is hard to find something more modern, and more modern is just our style. Like, I love a good log cabin up north on the lake, but like, other than that, I really like it new. Like, I like a newer feeling home, but not cookie cutter, like builder grade. So that's kind of what this was. It was like above builder grade, above cookie cutter, newer, nicer, like kind of checked all the boxes. Now, Mark and I have been talking about buying a vacation property for a while that we could turn into an Airbnb. It's like a whole separate business that is in our like life goal plan for the future. And so we've been looking at our favorite Florida destination for a while. We've been looking up north Wisconsin, and honestly, Door County wasn't really on our radar at all until this trip. Now, we love Door County. We go every year. We just never thought of it being like an Airbnb spot. We kind of thought like, okay, up north lake or Florida ocean. And anyways, we noticed while we're sitting here drinking coffee that there's a unit for sale in the building we're staying in. And we thought like, let's just go look at it. We're only here for 2 days. Let's go. So here's what really hit me though. I had no go-to agent. Like, I didn't know who to reach out to. And like, my whole thing has always been like, have your own agent. Like, don't just go with the listing agent because you don't know what else to do. Like, you want someone to advocate for you. Like, you all know this if you're listening, right? Not that, and the listing agent can't help you, but you know how we feel as agents. It's a lot of times how we feel, especially if you're in the position to help a buyer. But I didn't really know who to reach out to. I did like a quick Instagram search, wasn't really finding anything that stuck out as far as like, I couldn't tell what anyone was like from my search. Like, I got no feel for like, okay, what are they going to be like if I reach out, or what do they even really look like? Like, there was not a lot coming up there. So this brings me to one of the reasons I am so passionate about helping agents build personal brands is because not only do I want agents to have more automatic referrals, more word of mouth, like, no brainer, definitely call Chelsea. She will take care of everything. And to build better businesses and make more income, But I also think every community, like if you are a resident in a community, I think it's important for you to have a go-to. Now, where we live permanently, we have our go-to. But in a vacation destination, I had no idea, right? And because it was so unplanned, I didn't spend a lot of time researching who that might be. So, bringing this all together, when you are listening to this episode, I want you to think of it as I want to be the go to for the people I know in my community, for my sphere. That doesn't mean every person in your community, but through personal branding, you attract the ones that are going to be the right fit. You repel the ones that never would be, right? And we can't do all the business. So we can't be afraid of repelling someone because they don't also love to drink iced coffee by the water. Like, as you listen to this, just keep that in mind. Like, do it as a service to others, not just to serve yourself, but like build a personal brand so that people in your community and so that your sphere has a go-to they trust, a go-to that they can reach out to. Because my guess is if you're listening to this, you're really good at your job. You're really good at your job. And at one point or another, or multiple times over the course of your career, you've had people that you know that have worked with agents that were not you and maybe even reached out to you in the process because there was a problem or because things weren't going the way they expected. And you're like, oh, if you only would have just used me from the get go, right? Well, we can truly position ourselves on social media so that we do become that obvious choice. We do become the only choice, that we live rent free in people's brains that are our neighbors and our friends' parents and whoever that we want to work with, right? We can do that through building a personal brand on social media. And that's like the real point of it is, yes, to build you a better business, but also to let people have a go-to so that they are more comfortable when they are navigating one of the biggest financial decisions of their life. Because if we really do move forward on one of these condos, I would like someone that I trust to guide me through the decision. I don't know the area. I don't know real estate prices. I don't know what Airbnb rentals are like up there. I don't know rental income or what I should be looking for. Like, that is something that people truly want. They want an expert to tell them their advice, someone that they actually trust. So it got me thinking that I hear from agents all the time in the membership and camp and all the places that they just need to be more consistent. If I could just be more consistent, then this would be great. A lot of times I'll hear agents say, like, I just don't make it a priority. And the reason, if you're not making social media a priority, the reason you're not making it a priority is because you're not reaping the rewards yet. You're not seeing the payoff of the referrals and the clients who are using you without interviewing for other people, the seller who is having you come over right now and they've already decided you're their agent. You have not reaped the rewards. You have not lived the payoff of using social media the way it truly is intended to be used. But if you knew what was possible, or you could even get a glimmer of it, you sure would make it a priority. But that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, just be consistent. What we really need to start doing is we need to think about it as, how can I be the one they think of first? How can I be more remembered? So the real goal in this is not just having consistent content, because what that leads to is, oh, I'll just get this done for you content from the cheapest membership on the block, and I'll have my feed look great, but it won't connect with anyone. It won't be relevant to anyone. And then nothing will happen as a result. And I'll still sit here and say, okay, I don't need to make social media a priority, or social media doesn't work for me. So instead of thinking about being consistent does not automatically equal referrals and clients. But the real goal that I want you to have, and this is where the shift comes, the method that will be easier and more effective is to be more familiar. I want you to create content that is more familiar. And do we still need a level of consistency? Sure. I want you to be consistently familiar. Now, I have this restaurant that we recently started going to in our favorite vacation destination in Florida called Pickles. It is burgers and shakes. It's like kind of indoor outdoor, like you order at the window. Well, we had been driving by it for years. We've eaten at the restaurants next door and across the street for years, like over 5 years. And we would leave, we'd talk about it. I'd see them on Instagram. And then I'd say to my husband, like, we really need to go to Pickles next time. And he'd be like, I know, I can't believe we haven't eaten there. They're even known, like they say they're known for the best burgers. And we love a good burger. And I love like a thin patty. Like, I don't want the thick 3/4 pounder mass monstrosity that restaurants put on their menus. Like, yuck, no. I want like thin and really good. And that is what Pickles is. So finally, like we have so many favorite restaurants here that it was hard to try something different because we had all of our go-tos, right? So anyways, fast forward the clock. Our 3-year-old loves cheeseburgers. Someone said, "What's your favorite vegetable?" to him recently, and he said, "A cheeseburger." So we are back in Florida in September of last year, and we're like, we've got to go. So we went and had burgers. Absolutely love them. It is now one of our absolute favorite places. Like we are obsessed. Henry plays Pickles at home and takes our order. He wants to name our dog Pickles when we get one, like all of the things. But this is what I want you to think about. That restaurant became super familiar to us. We didn't just like stumble in one day and like randomly order burgers. We could have, yes, we could have, but we didn't. But it became like this talking point and this thing. And then I'd see it online. And that's a marketing lesson. That's how marketing works. People are going to see you. They're going to like virtually drive by. They're going to see your reel, your post, maybe your story. Then maybe they'll see you in their inbox. And they may never reach out. They may never walk through the door and order for a really long time. But along the way, you are still there. You are still in front of them. You are still the one they're going to think of. You're still the one they're going to remember. Because when we think cheeseburgers, even though we had not eaten there, we thought Pickles. So when we wanted a cheeseburger in Florida and we knew our 3-year-old loved cheeseburgers, where do we go? We went to Pickles. It was familiar. We knew it. That's all we could think of. That's the only place we could think of. And that is what familiarity can do for you as an agent. You become the only one that someone can possibly think of. And familiarity is so important because familiar feels safe. I'm actually going to read you the scientific definition of familiarity because I like to back up my talking points, like what I'm teaching you, with scientific facts. Like you cannot argue this. So familiarity is the cognitive bias that causes us to trust, prefer, and feel comfortable with things we've encountered before. I'm going to say it again. Causes us to trust, prefer, and feel comfortable with things we've encountered before. Now, your brain is actually really lazy. It loves a shortcut. If your brain has seen something 47 times, it's like, yep, I know what that is. Feels good, feels safe. I trust it. Let's go. That's kind of what happened with Pickles, right? Like cheeseburger. Okay, I've seen that 47 times. We've always wanted to try it. They say they're the best burger. Let's do it. Like it felt so easy. I wasn't like researching, oh my gosh, who should I go to? Where should I get a burger in this area? Just like in Door County, I'm like on the opposite end, frustratingly researching, I don't know who to reach out to here while we're here for 2 days and I want to see a condo that's for sale. So when we think about familiarity and we think about being that person for someone, being that go-to for someone so that they feel safe reaching out, they feel like they trust you, they feel like I've already decided you're my agent before I do reach out. How does that happen on social media? Because it doesn't come from just posting cute content or lists of local places or clever hooks or even pictures of you all over it. Like it doesn't come from that. So here is a framework that you can kind of go by. The framework is first consistency, but consistency that makes you familiar. So we're going to go into some examples of how to do this at the end of the episode. So just be patient. We'll get there. But it's consistency that makes you feel familiar. So not necessarily post 5 days a week or post 3 times a day, or it's not number based, it's familiarity based. That's why it feels easier. Then we have conversations. Once you start feeling familiar and the content you're putting out there is relevant to the person actually consuming it, that person in your community who's like, oh, I go there too, or I have kids the same age too, or I'm going to baseball games all weekend too. Like that feels familiar. And then that results in conversations in your DMs. And then you start to build trust. And the trust is what will turn into referrals and clients down the road. So it can't just be, we have consistent content, so we're going to get consistently hired by people on Instagram. It has to be the full framework of consistency that makes you familiar, that builds trust in conversations, and then that's what turns into the clients and the referrals. Most agents are treating Instagram like a billboard. Like, here's my listing. Here's what you need to know. Here's how to work with me. Here's how I can help you. Here's how to buy a house. Here's how to sell a house. But the agents who are getting the most out of it, the ones that are entirely prioritizing it because they know how insanely well this pays off, they're treating it more like Pickles or a small town coffee shop. Like you keep seeing them, you know their order, you know their face, and eventually it just becomes part of your life. Like think of a place that you frequent, like it just becomes part of your life. You see them all the time, you think of them all the time, it's your go-to. You're not having to think about where to get coffee or where to get the cheeseburger. Like you're like, this is it. So, how can we as agents create familiarity through our content so that you have content that is familiar? And what happens with that is it compounds so much faster than just quotation mark consistent content about real estate. Okay. Here's a few things you need to have a point of view, your point of view on real estate. So, this could be a few different things. It could be if you have a specific price point that you would like to sell in, maybe you show more neighborhoods and behind the scenes of houses in that price point. You speak more to that. Maybe it's a certain area, a certain, like maybe it's golf club communities, or maybe it's larger properties with acreage. Like there's so many ways you can go with that, but your point of view could be something like that. It can also be an opinion, something that you think about real estate. Like you feel very passionately about the fact that someone should reach out to you 3 to 6 months before they're ready, or they should always have a strategy call with you before they even think about starting in their home search, or maybe it's about getting pre-approved. Maybe like think about the things that you feel passionate about, or think about objections that you handle with your clients, like things that they say. Like, I think we should list a little higher just to see what happens. Or I think we should avoid painting this room because that's going to cost X amount and we just want to get it on the market. It's going to take too long. And like, we don't have the money for like, think of all those objections that you know better. Like you've been through this, you know better, you know the experience of what would be the better payoff for them. But you like, it's hard to say to their face sometimes, right? But you could lead with that as your point of view and your angle through some of your content, something that you repeatedly talk about. Now, there was this girl recently who went totally viral. She just started her account, like not, I think 6 months ago, started talking about yapping on camera, went totally viral over this, sold this yapping on camera challenge and made over $1 million in a very short amount of time. Like it was just a wild experience to witness. However, here's my takeaway. Number one, people have been yapping on camera for years. I have been yapping on camera since 2018. This is nothing new. This is not a new concept. What she did is she got so crystal clear on what she was going to talk about and teach that she created so much clarity around her from people consuming her content. When the internet is filled with information, advice, education, ideas, like our brains like shut it down so fast. We're like, oh, we don't need that. Oh, we don't need that. Oh, we don't need that right now. Like it will delete things out of it just to maintain, like, had to have enough brain calories, right? But when you get so clear and specific with a point of view or an angle, that stands out. That's all she talked about. And so when she had an offer to sell, people were like, yes, sign me up. I need that. Because it wasn't just marketing. It wasn't just Instagram content. It wasn't just reels. It was an extremely specific thing. So even thinking through what is something you want to be known for as an agent, like lean all the way in because it will stand out so much more than when you try to be broad and talk to everyone. Like there are so many lessons to pick apart from this girl going viral and from even coining the term yapping. Like she didn't fully coin that term, but the whole yapping on camera movement that you have probably seen on Instagram, she started that. It is a trend. It probably will not always be talked about online, but like right now, we are in the heat of it at the time of this recording, and that's all I can see anywhere now because I keep consuming that content, right? So like the same is true for your people is when you talk about your local community, when you talk about a specific neighborhood or price range or price point or even home feature, like getting clear on like, what do I want to sell more of? What kind of houses? What kind of features do those have? What does that tie back to in the lifestyle my client's looking for? When you lead with that, that becomes so crystal clear that people cannot think of anyone else. So, for example, I've seen reels that say things like, here are 5 reasons why we actually don't want a bigger house. These aren't real estate agents. They're just humans that have homes and are talking about home ownership, or someone who like is really passionate about like, I want to be the hangout house. I want a pool. I want a big backyard. I want all of it. Or people who really like value the space and being able to have a little hobby farm. Like there are so many desires from people, and not that you have to get so nitty-gritty that you talk about small houses, but you could. We actually have a member, we did a little coaching call with her on the podcast a while back. I'll link it in the show notes, who came up with the idea to start talking more about how it's okay if your house doesn't look like Instagram houses. Like it's okay if you still have oak cabinets. It's okay. Like you can still love where you live. Like what a phenomenal angle, because the truth is most of the homes we're showing on a daily basis are not glamorous. They are not Pottery Barn. They are not super cute designer homes. So like giving someone that permission slip to make something that is their own, something they love despite it not looking like an Instagram kitchen, is a really cool angle. That's an angle. It's a point of view. That will stand out so much more than teaching someone the steps to buying a house or the steps to working with you or what areas you serve. Should you share what areas you serve? Yes, that is a natural byproduct of your content and your bio. But like as far as just what to lead with, like what you could attach to so many things, your point of view has to be one of them.
We talk about personal branding all the time, but maybe that sounds complicated. But what if I told you you could have a personal brand by Friday?
We're giving you a simple week-long plan with clear action steps to follow Monday through Friday, so by the end of the week, you have everything you need to start standing out in your market.
Click the link in the show notes to grab your personal brand by Friday guide so you can get started today.
Okay, number 2 is local. This is like, where are you going? Where are you going physically in your town? We don't need lists of all the things to do in the summer or every single place in town or every single coffee shop. But like, where are you hanging out on Saturday? Where did you get the takeout pizza? Where are you getting ice cream with the kids after baseball practice? Where are you doing the outdoor movie? What event do you actually go to on the weekend? Like, and getting yourself out there, if you can combine social media with your social life and then you document that, your social media is going to be so unique to you, and it's going to be so relevant to the people who live in your community. They're like, oh, there's Chelsea, the realtor, who also goes to Stonebang Farm Night on Fridays. Like, it shouldn't be hard. This should align with the life you're already living, not take you away from it. We don't need you to have like 3-hour-long content creation sessions. We need you to simply document what you're doing, and you're eventually going to get in a rhythm of how to bring that to life online so that it builds a brand for you. Another one is like the coffee shop. Where are you meeting buyers? Where are you working from on a Tuesday afternoon? Like, what's your go-to spot that you're always at that will become so familiar to other people seeing you show up there? I've talked about this a million times, but I used to always go to Roots Coffee Bar in our town when I started real estate, and I would always check in on Facebook, and I would share like what I'm doing, and I'd maybe sometimes take a picture of my coffee or the buyer folder, and I'd always relate it to real estate, and I became known for it. Like, it became part of my brand. I like branded myself to that, along with first-time home buyers. Like, that was more my point of view, my angle. Like, it was related to first-time home buyers. But the point is, when you can bring that consistent, repetitive, local familiarity to your own account, people are going to see you and think of you for that. We have an agent in our membership who lives in Austin, Texas area, and every agent in her area is like, oh, I can help you anywhere in Austin, Texas. And she was like, I am like a tiny fish in a giant pond here. So she decided to narrow in on her actual local town that she lived in, which is a really small like suburb of Austin called Pflugerville. And her social media results changed drastically. Like, so many more followers, so many more views, so many more connections, DMs, like connections with people, meeting people. Like, she just totally blew up in her area because she niched down into something that was where she became a big fish in a small pond instead of the tiny fish in the ginormous pond. So like, that will make a big difference for you. If you are always out on the lake in the summer, like, it could just simply be that you bring that element into your content. Now, we have an episode coming that's going to teach you how to weave all these things together. If you're feeling like, okay, but like, how often would I talk about the lake, or how often do I talk about my point of view, or how often this and that? We're going to have another episode coming next week all about that. So that will be coming. But focus on this stuff first. Just start to think and brainstorm about what this would be for you. It could be like your date night spot. You do a weekly date night. For a while, my husband and I had a weekly date night. We had a sitter. She actually moved, which is so sad. She was amazing. But we had a weekly Wednesday night babysitter, and we would do a local restaurant. Like, I still do document this locally on my own page, but you wouldn't see it on Modern Agent Instagram. But like, you could make that your thing, like make it part of your brand, right? Okay, the last one, number 3, is brand cues. When I say brand cues, I mean brand accessories, brand props, visual things you can bring into your brand that will become familiar, just like the other things I'm talking about. They become familiar. So you can listen to episode 37. It is called Mini Personal Brand Quiz that makes staying top of mind easy. If you need more of a brainstorm sesh on coming up with these things, I'm going to run through a few examples. Number 1, your brand cue could be that you always have bright pink lipstick on. That's a brand cue. It could be that you're always bringing a Diet Coke into your stories and reels. Like you're pouring it, you're putting the straw in, or you're just cracking it open in a can. Maybe it's sitting in the cup holder of your car and it's like off to show houses, or you have it in a reel as you like walk in to show a listing. So many ways you can do this, but it's a cue. Sunglasses are a cue. There is someone I love to follow on Instagram. Her name's Stephanie Scutt, and she does tons of face to cam videos, now apparently known as yapping on camera videos. But no, I don't actually love that word. She does tons of face to cam videos, has been for a long time, and she wears sunglasses in all of them. Always has sunglasses on. Usually you can tell she's like on her front porch, sometimes in her backyard. She has like a really cool pool area, but that's not the focus. You can really only see her. I just know that she's back there because of following her and seeing other things. She's not like, look at my beautiful pool. Now pay attention to me for that reason. No. It doesn't need to be fancy. It needs to be consistently familiar. Consistently familiar. So she started a podcast. And guess what she's wearing on the cover of her podcast? Just guess. Sunglasses. Familiar. Consistently familiar. She looks exactly the same on the podcast cover as she does when she shows up in her stories. Now, like, this is a mistake we all make, is including myself. Oh, I'm going to start a podcast. I want a really cool cover. I want something really different, right? Instead of being like, wait, what's my brand? Let's just bring it to life on the cover. Let's bring it right over there. Also, her podcast is called Pretty Vocal. What is her main Instagram content? Talking to the camera, pretty vocal. Get it? Like, this is called familiarity. This is so consistent, but in a strategic way that makes her, it's impossible to forget about her. Impossible. That is the point. Another one could be that you're always filming in the front seat of your car. Great for realtors. I know we talk about this one a lot, but seriously, like every morning, pour a cup of coffee, go sit in your car and record something. Even if it's B-roll and you put text on top. Like, it doesn't have to be like you're talking to the camera every single day unless that's your thing. But go record some B-roll. Then you pair that with the drink, with the Diet Coke, or with the coffee cup, or with maybe you always use like a whimsical coffee mug, and you have that be the thing you're holding, like this flowery one, and the next day it's bright yellow, and the next day it's butterflies, and like you have all these cute mugs, and it's so fun to see what you're going to use. You're probably going to talk about real estate, or real estate and local, or real estate and local and personal. That's for next week. But you're going to talk about that. But you have this visual cue that people see all the time. So they open their app, they're like, oh, there she's in her car again. As I mapped out this episode to record, we all need to like rein this in sometimes. Like, I've gotten loose on my own account with this, where I'm like, okay, I need to rein it in. What's the setting? What are we wearing? The color you're wearing. We interviewed Brianne Buell not too long ago on the podcast, and she, first of all, her whole account is very aesthetic. It's beautiful. I do not think you need that aesthetic of an account to be successful, but that's her thing. It is her thing. If you scroll through her content, you will notice like that is her thing. She's passionate about it. It goes so well with her branding. And she's always wearing like chocolate browns, warm tones, neutrals, and that's her. It's episode 59, Luxury Real Estate Branding That Feels Personal with Brianne Buell. That is her. If you saw a piece of her content in the wild and you couldn't see the handle or even her face, you would be like, that's Brianne. Like, it's familiar. Another example is if you live on a farm. Maybe you start your morning story, or you film your reels, or the B-roll of your content. It's always like that's your backdrop. As I'm saying all this, over the years of having Modern Agent, we've always since day one been rooted in personal branding. I maybe didn't call it that at first because I was like, agents don't care about personal brands. And then I was like, I don't care what they care about. They need personal brands. It will change their lives. It will change their lives. And I just came up with ways to package it differently and talk about it differently, but I'm giving you what the payoff of it is, right? It's a better business. It's being familiar. It's being recognized locally. It is spending your weekends at home, maybe creating some content that you're already living anyways, but you're not leaving to do open houses all day in hopes of a stranger arriving and then hopefully giving you the correct contact information so you can hopefully follow up if they don't already have an agent. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? Like, it's a personal brand. So like basically standing out on social media is a better way to say it. Standing out on social media, not blending in with every other agent, not posting the same done for you graphics, not posting the same thing as everyone else, but rising above that industry standard and standing for something, having a point of view, being specific in your local community so that that's recognizable, having brand cues that are consistently recognizable. These things that seem so incredibly simple, that is how you stand out online. That is how you stand out in your market. That is how you be remembered by your sphere. Your sphere, who probably some of them have not used you to buy or sell. And that might really hurt. But at the same time, we have to think maybe I could have done something differently. And I don't mean like harass them or send them extra DMs or call them or whatever. I mean, like, maybe that you just didn't jive. Maybe they didn't like maybe it's not the right fit. Like, it is better to have a personal brand and repel people than to try to be the right fit for everyone, because you're not the right fit for everyone and you just run into a lot of resistance and red flag people and like frustrations and stress. So instead, when we can show up in this way and attract our right people and get more referrals from them, because when they're sending you referrals, you're probably getting more people like them that are coming to you that you love working with. Like, think of your favorite client ever. If you could say like they would refer me to all their friends that are just like them and they would refer me, like, your business would be exploding and you would enjoy it because these people would be enjoyable to work with, just like the friend was, right? So as I say all these things, we really need to hone in on like, this is how we make our content consistent but stand out. This is how we create consistency that compounds over time, that builds us wildly successful results. This is how it's done. And it's so insanely doable. It's so simple that it sometimes feels insane. Like, if you read the book The Slight Edge, it talks about this all the time, how it's most people or most successful results come from very simple habits that are really easy to do, but they're also really easy not to do, because our brain is always looking for like, but what's like the secret? Like, what's the shortcut? What's like the fast track? The fast track is making it a habit, putting it on repeat, and letting the results compound over time that give you crazy successful results, the business you always dreamed of. I recently saw an Alex Hormozy quote that said, poor people stay poor because they're always looking for a shortcut to getting rich. Poor people stay poor because they're always looking for the shortcut to getting rich. Like, that hit me because it's so true. Like, no one wants to do the work. No one wants to do the small actions that compound daily over time. And like, all of a sudden you have referrals coming in every single day and you have business for the next 5 years. Like, no one wants to do the little things, but we want to do the thing that gets us the client today, or we want to do the thing that gets us more views today, or more, like, we have to focus on the little habits. So these are what the little habits are. Let's regroup, recap. 3 ways to create familiarity. Number 1, have a unique point of view. What do you want to be known for? What do you want your brand reputation to be? If someone was talking about you at book club or at a restaurant or at the grocery store, what would you want them to say about you? You can create that through your content. 2 is local. Remember, you sell real estate. You do not sell local event tickets. So like, you don't need to be the local event like connoisseur, but you can share where you love to go and spend your time as a local real estate agent. Number 3, your brand cues. So these are literally visual things that will create recognizable patterns that people will notice from you before they even remember your name. You're gonna be like, oh, the realtor that always has a pink lipstick, or the realtor who always is like talking into the camera in her car, or is at the farm, or is drinking a cute coffee mug. Like, not that they won't remember your name, but the visual cue helps you become more memorable than relying solely on like, oh, that, Sarah Hopkins girl. So with all of that being said, do you think in the next week, before the next episode where I'm going to teach you how to weave it all together, so you're not wondering how to balance all this in actual content, I want you to pick one point of view, I want you to pick one local angle, and I want you to pick one brand cue. And when I say local angle, it could be one local spot. It could be a coffee shop. It could be an event you love. It could be maybe it's just events in general. You love local events, and then it'll be those ones. Maybe it's like your kids' baseball games. It doesn't have to be everything. Just start with one. So to wrap all of this up, I want you to remember this. Pickles became our favorite restaurant before we ever became customers. It became something we talked about all the time before we ever became a paying customer. And good marketing works the exact same way. People aren't going to refer the agent that is on the billboard. They're going to refer the agent that they think of first. Whoever they think of first is going to win. And that can be you so easily, especially for the people that you truly want to work with and get referrals from. Like, have you ever worked with someone and you're like, I don't ever want a referral from you. I don't ever want to talk to you again. Like, we've all had that, right? And so when you have a brand that does these things that gets people drawn to you naturally, organically, then you have to worry less about that because you're pulling in the right people and they're going to remember you. They can't help but remember you. That's the whole point. Okay. Have an amazing week, and we will see you next Tuesday. I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.